session on key risk factors, early detection and prevention of cancer by Dr. Lopamudra Das Roy. Dr. Lopamudra Das Roy is the founder and president Breast Cancer Hub. She is a distinguished cancer scientist, research professor, resigned from her career to create and grow Breast Cancer Hub as pro bono and voluntary service with a dream to save lives by making impactful changes working at the grassroots level. She has 20 plus years of experience in research, training, and mentoring undergraduate and PhD candidates in the field of genetics and breast and pancreatic cancer. She received the Award for Excellence for Humanitarian Service from Male Breast Cancer Coalition in the USA. And her story was featured at Charlotte Lately magazine as one of the 31 influential women in the city. She was also awarded for her outstanding performance on relief and welfare activities in India during COVID-19 from Universal Diplomatic Affairs of Human Rights. Thank you so much, Dr. Lopa, for joining us today. Over to you for your session.
Thank you, Aparna, for the generous introduction, and I'm honored to be here, to be among the distinguished panel and also among everyone. So thank you so much, and I don't know why this happened, because on our demo, so it was the same way I tried to do today, and usually it's on slideshow, but it's not showing up, so I went to the presentation mode. So thank you so much, Dr. Gopal, Dr. Ingrid, and also Aparna for giving an overview. So what I would try to do today is basically bring you all to the main key factors, how can we prevent, and also with the early detection of cancer. But when I talk about the preventable mode, I would like to bring into limelight the most important thing that I would feel is that 30 to 50% of cancers can be prevented is if we actually the number one carcinogen, which is basically carcinogen means the substances that leads to the cancer, is tobacco. So tobacco is a leading cause of the preventable death. And just an incident recently that I would like to highlight is, for example, a woman I'm working with. She's a stage 4 lung cancer patient, and by any means, when I was asking her, were you a smoker? And she said no. So she never smoked in her life, but actually her spouse was in the same room smoking all the time. So the passive smoking is equally, it is hazardous to their health. So I'm going to walk you through the most important preventable measures and of cancer. And it's not only related to cancer, but it also going to, is connected to different other diseases too. So the most important one, as I said, with the tobacco, which is the worldwide cause, the use of tobacco, more than 7 million deaths per year is happening. And when we think of tobacco, we usually all the time, we think that it's only smoking and it's only related to the lungs. We can only think of lung cancer, but that's not true, because as you can see that the tobacco can not only cause the different chronic diseases, but also the different types of cancer. So it's very essential that when we think of the preventable mode of cancer, we should definitely, and as Dr. Madan Gopal has mentioned, that the SDG, the sustainable mode, I feel that if we can prevent, if we can really follow with the anti-tobacco campaign, that as Breast Cancer Hub, we are trying to do that at our grassroots level, that will really help with the sustainable mode. Now, coming to the other point is, what are the other types of tobacco consumption? Like, we always think of tobacco as smoking, right? But then besides smoking, there is also like the smokeless tobacco, like the chewing tobacco. And as it was mentioned about Northeast India, I come from Assam. So tobacco chewing, is in every household. We are always, I grew up seeing every festival we have, even it's a culture, we have to give tobacco and the pan, supari, zarda, and all of that. So it is a culture induced, a social thing, so which kind of goes hand in hand. So we should also not only be thinking and on a scientific way, but we should also think of the social way, how we can bring those changes. Because if I show you the next picture, you will find that what chewing tobacco can do, it can cause cancer in the oral, in the head and neck cancer, in the esophagus, pancreas, and also in different other parts of the body. So now this, so as Breast Cancer Hub, as a sustainable, like the localized solution, as it was just now mentioned. That's what we have been doing. So we have adopted 11 villages, and we plan to adopt more. We do door-to-door cancer screening, basically from zero awareness. Now we have like 100% aware of those villages, those houses, homes we covered. Now while doing that, we have seen many patients showing us that what happened in their mouth with no information that this could be cancer. So this is just a representation of all, and they all are tobacco chewers. So what we have done as our solution is that what I felt is that if we go even in the urban sectors of India or other developing countries, or even in the developed world, we have to really find out, like, detect early. So we developed our own self-oral cancer screening card, and we teach everyone, in our proper awareness sessions, like how to do the oral cancer screening. And we also mention about the preventative measures to oral cancer and other types of cancers. So this was the highlights of the tobacco, which I have shown that on the reality ground, what not the tobacco factors can do. But there are also other key risk factors and which can help with the prevention of cancer. Now, one of the important aspects that I would always say is the family history, which I'm going to talk about after some time. But the environment, the radiation and the centers, the places where we work on. Like I was in Bangalore in 2019 for the outreaches, and a person came to meet me, and he said, my mother has lung cancer, and of course, never she smoked in her life. And when we were going deeper, we figured out that she was working in a factory where there was all the time fumes, coming out, and no one even told her that we need to wear a mask or there should be some safety measures. So I have been seeing these things a lot in many places, in many factories, and in the, like, for example, the other environmental I would say is the Punjab situation, where because of the exposures of the pesticides, the cancer is increasing so much. So this is very important that we become very vigilant of the environment we live in. The other important factors could be like, weight gain, because one thing that we should always remember is the inflammation. I know that we do not consider many times inflammation as a key risk factor, but my work has been, we discovered the molecular mechanism between inflammation, that is arthritis, and breast cancer, how it can cause the progression of the cancer to be much faster compared to the controlled group. Now, this research got press release in 2012 at American Association of Cancer Research. That's why I always bring it up, the importance of inflammation. Now, even with the COVID situation, we all know that inflammation is very important to be targeted. So why I'm talking about inflammation is because even there is always underlying low inflammation going on in the body. For example, when we are consuming alcohol, though directly we never say that alcohol causes cancer, but it is causing underlying inflammation. Then in the same way, like obesity also leads to various other factors, and also it causes many inflammatory signaling pathways to be activated. So that's why it's very important. What can we do for that? For example, exercise. Like exercise helps with reducing the inflammation in many ways, and also it helps to control the stress, because stress is a master regulator for the upregulation of not only cancer but many kinds of diseases. So in a nutshell, I just wanted to bring these points up, like how in our body they are affecting. And also another important thing that we miss out is the medications we are taking. A lot of times, we have all these hormone replacement therapies, and I'm not saying that when we have cancer, we have to do a lot of targeted therapies which are targeted towards like the hormones. But otherwise, when we do all the different hormone therapies or contraceptive options we take, we have to have a balance, because these are also different risk factors. So these are the different key risk factors. But then most importantly, how diet can play a role, because as I said that we always, we do not, like when we think of diet, of course, like we always think of good, healthy diet, vegetables and all of that. But how is it actually functioning in the body? Because when we are talking to our kids and telling them eat healthy, they are not going to listen to us until and unless we explain to them. So what happens is inside our body, there is a generation of free radicals, and they constantly harm the body and could cause serious it will cause the damage to the DNA of the cells. But the antioxidants provided by the good food will help to clean up the free radicals and will stabilize the free radicals so that it doesn't go and damage the DNA of the cell, which is kind of like helping in the repair mechanism. So that's why good diet is so important. And different, we all know that turmeric, the byproduct of turmeric, curcumin, ginger, onion, I'm not being specific, but in fresh mode. I know, like, in the more we are getting busier, we are kind of using all this paste and from the market resources, but using the fresh product is so helpful and so important. Now, in the similar way, these are the different foods that can fight inflammation with different fruits and vegetables. But just to bring up, like, what can actually trigger the inflammation or the free radicals, like all the, I would say, the junk food, which we all prefer in our daily life, but this is the harm effect that they can cause. So, for example, the sugar, the saturated fats, the trans fats, the refined carbohydrates. So I'm not saying that totally stop taking all of this, but always have a balance with a proper lifestyle. So this will really help us. Now, getting to another important factor, which is the family history, the genetic mutations as a risk factor. So this kind of like is important because 5 to 10% of all cancers are genetically inherited. Like, we lost like a person with stomach cancer last year in Charlotte, and his father also passed away at the age of 45 in Hyderabad, and we lost him also at the age of 45, but no one had mentioned it to him that he can be inheriting the gene. So that's why, though it is 5 to 10% of the population, but still we cannot ignore. So if we know we have genes running in the family, or we have cancer in the family, please do not ignore that. So all this time I have mentioned, like, in a nutshell, like, what can be the key risk factors or how we can prevent the development of cancer. But equally, early detection is important because early detection saves lives. And as an organization working with breast cancer, so I always tell everyone that please go for the breast cancer screening from the age of 40, and be aware about the concerns with the mammograms. Also follow up with the ultrasound if you have dense breast. But most importantly, what can be a grassroots solution, because even the younger women get breast cancer too. So that is what made me to think that when I'm going to the interiors of India or other countries, so if I'm talking about high-end technology, this will never work, because even it is a culture and induced inertia. Even our urban sector women, we do not want to go for mammogram as a screening until and unless it is a problem, it's diagnostic. So we brought a solution, which is the breast self exam card, and then we have it as one side for women and one side for men in simple language. Now the next step for me was, if I'm going to the villages and giving it out in English, this will never work. So we have it now translated from scratch by our BCH volunteers in 24 languages. And you can see that here, this is in Hyderabad, in a slum area. People love it. Now we do not end it there. So everyone has my contacts. WhatsApp is free, which works magical for us, and also my email address. So when they feel the concerns, they reach out to me. And even if they do not have the phone, the organizer will reach out, and I navigate them towards the healthcare resources, kind of like holding them and guiding them through and through, and making sure that if they're underprivileged, they get the government scheme, as Dr. Gopal has mentioned, so that no one goes untreated. So we have developed this, and please download the card, and we have it in 24 languages. Please spread it in your network, because this simple solution really helps to save lives. And in the same way, we have generated early detection cards, cancer screening cards for all different kinds of cancers, and everything is available on our website. Please download and share. That would be my earnest request as a sustainable development goal, because that is really helping. And every day I'm getting emails saying that we have downloaded and we have seen the symptom, and we write it on the card actually, like, what would be the next step. So these are all cards based on the research and everything that we have done. We have done severe review research analysis, and after that we produced, and we have the authentic information. Now, next, what we did is, beside the outreaches, as I was mentioning, we have adopted villages, and this is in Assam. So we go door to door, and then we explain, about the breast self-exam, about the oral cancer screening. We package all these detection cards. We give it to every member, and you can see that here, when I'm talking, this woman is actually cutting the betel nut. We call it a supari. So you can see the amount of ignorance. But now, and when we meet the suspicious cases, we take responsibility, because they are very poor people. They have no money even to go to the hospital, and even in COVID, the situation was worse. So we take accountability of each patient, take them to, like this is in Kachar district, Assam, to Kachar Cancer Hospital. We have collaborated with the oncologists there, and we make sure that everyone is getting treated. And when from the diagnosis part, we pay. Breast Cancer Hub does all the takes care of the finances. But when we are confirmed that it is cancer or other diseases, then the government aid comes in, which is what Dr. Mohan has mentioned. So which has been really helpful for us. So I would say that from zero awareness, all these villages, we have kind of like significantly, now it is a situation where even if they have little bit of pain in the breast, they would just reach out to us. So I cannot be more proud of our team and of all the work we have been doing, specifically in India, for the villages we adopted. And we have been doing plenty of outreaches, and in the schools also. So we penetrated. I do a lot of sessions to talk about the early detection, signs and symptoms, to talk about the preventable measures of not only cancer, but also of other diseases. So I believe that, it's always one step at a time. And I would request each of us to please, be your own advocate. It's our body, and we have the right to understand and the look and feel of our body to determine any abnormality, and immediately reach out to the doctor for the screening and for the diagnostic differentiation, like if we really have the disease or not. Because I believe that even if we save a life, we are saving a family. And thank you so much, Mr. Santosh, Mrs. Aparna, GCPIT, and all the other collaborating organization. I'm deeply humbled to be here to present this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lopa, for that powerful and inspiring session. Thank you so much for all your support you're giving to GCPIT as well. Thank you. Next.